We are live now.
はい、皆さん、こんにちは。本日はですね、ポーツマスの、ウェビナー、ポーツマス大学のですね、ウェビナーにご参加いただきまして、誠にありがとうございます。本日の内容についてですけれども、ポーツマス大学スポーツ科学とスポーツマネジメントコースのご案内に関するものとなっております。はい、ですね。で、本日お話しいただく講師の方なんですけれども、マイク・レイナー先生と他の大学のスタッフの方ですね、お越しいただいています。また、卒業生のですね、大口様という方にお越しいただきまして、プレゼンテーションをしていただく予定になっておりますので、よろしくお願いします。で、本日はですね、YouTube でもこちらライブ配信をしております。で、ご質問などある場合はですね、音声でマイクでお話ししていただくのではなくて、チャットボックス等に質問をしていただけたらと思います。プレゼンテーションが終わった後にですね、私の方で質問を読み上げて、ご質問に答えていただく形式にさせていただきますので、Zoom でご参加の方、もしくは YouTube でご参加の方ですね、チャットボックスにご質問をどんどん書いていただけたらと思いますので、よろしくお願いいたします。はい、それではプレゼンテーションをしていただきたいと思います。Mike, could you please start your presentation?
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you to everybody who's here and attending the session where we're going to go through some thoughts and processes on what you can do with a sports science and management degree. And we're going to specifically talk about it from the perspective of the University of Portsmouth. My name is Mike Rayner. I am the Associate Head for Global Engagement Education Partnerships here in the School of Sport, Health and Exercise Science at the University of Portsmouth. And I'm going to go through a range of different concepts in terms of what you can do with different degrees, what degrees we offer within the school, and I'm going to pass you over to somebody who's already been a student within our school to talk about her experiences and life at the University of Portsmouth and one of our sports programs in a previous life. So we'll come to that later on, but first, just a bit of an overview of the school. So our school is a top-ranked sport and exercise science school across the UK and globally. We are typically within the top 10% rankings across a range of different national and international metrics for performance. We currently hold what is known as the Athena Swan Bronze Awards. That's an award given to independent schools and institutions in regards to commitment to equality, diversity and inclusivity. So it's a prestigious award, and not only do we have that a kite mark in terms of the overall institution at the University of Portsmouth, as a school we have our own independent mark. So it's a great accolade for the school, and it fits in with our national rankings for education and research agendas. As a school, we're approximately about 35 academic members of staff in total. We have around about 900 students across undergraduate, postgraduate taught programs and postgraduate research programs within the campus. We have national metrics that illustrate our excellent first-time progression statistics. That means students who come generally progress through the course at the first time of asking. And not only that, they go on to obtain a good degree, a good qualification. And the University of Portsmouth itself is infamous across the UK for having a significant impact upon graduate employment. So we are a top-ranked institution for providing courses and programs that lead students naturally into a career pathway. The school itself, as I said, we're roughly about 35 academics and about 900 students. So we have a significant sort of ethos and value across the school that we try and embed both in terms of the staff and student perspective and time within the school. We have a continuous sort of equality, diversity and inclusivity agenda, as I mentioned about the Athena Swan kite mark, but we also strive for excellence in all that we do, whether it's teaching and learning, research, innovation activities, because we're here as a school to challenge not only academics to improve and drive their own academic research agendas, but also we're there to drive students to inquire and be inquisitive in terms of their own personal development, but also their career contribution post completion of their degree programs. And we do that through an empowerment of trust and endeavour between the academics and the students, and we make sure that we sort of set a programme of study and engagement that allows us to work either independently or collaboratively. And this is all part of our holistic value as a school. We have our own building. We have a specific building on campus that's dedicated to the School of Sport, Health and Exercise Science. We're adjoined to what is the Spinnaker Sports Centre, which is our leisure facility. So it's a big sports hall, a gymnasium, and breakout smaller dance room classes. But actually, the University of Portsmouth is just almost completing a £55 million new sports facility that's due to be completed around about the end of May this year, early June. And one of the greatest things in terms of Portsmouth, I'm sure Mackie might describe that a bit later, is that everything is in close proximity. So you can see on that image in front of you, we're roughly the yellow dot, if you can see that with your eyes squinting through a computer screen. But where the new sports centre is, that is the pink dot, and the library, the Students' Union, and all the other university facilities, all extremely close by. So we are a city campus university with everything really within walking distance across the city. So, School of Sport, Health and Exercise Science, we have 3 core undergraduate programs. So our first is Sport and Exercise Science, then we have our Sport and Exercise Psychology program, and then our third and final undergraduate full 4-year undergraduate degree is the Sports Management and Development pathway. We have a couple of things on the horizon. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll be going through the course validation process for 2 top-up pathways, one specifically in sports coaching and the second in sports management. Now, these are direct level 6, so 3rd year entry programs, and typically are for those individuals who have either done a different qualification to those typically associated with 1st year entry of university study, or for those that have got into industry and have a significant level of experience and would like to get a professional qualification to reward that type of experience and exposure within specific industries. So they're about to come on board. They're literally a couple of weeks away from the validation event. But in addition to our other 3 undergraduate degrees, we are also in the process of establishing 2 further 4-year undergraduate degrees, and these are dual awards, which with Edith Cowan University in Australia. And a dual award in principle means that you get 2 degrees as a result of undertaking this pathway. From a University of Portsmouth perspective, you would do your first 2 years at the University of Portsmouth. You would do a 3rd and compulsory year over at Edith Cowan University in Perth, Australia, before returning to complete the 4th year at the University of Portsmouth. And the nature of these degrees is that the award is recognised in both countries. And it would allow you to not only get a degree status in both countries, but also gets you graduate rights for working visas in those host countries. So it's quite a unique offering, and that's due to the Sport and Exercise Science one is due to start and commence this September, again subject to a validation event later in February. So there are 2 exciting projects on the horizon that we have in terms of our undergraduate provision at present. So go back to the title of this program. What can you do with a sports science and sports management degree? It's probably best if we start describing actually what is a sport and exercise science degree and what is a sports management or sports development program. Well, our sport and exercise science degree here at the School of Sport, Health and Exercise Science at the University of Portsmouth is a BASIS accredited program or BASIS endorsed program. BASIS stands for the British Association of Sport and Exercise Sciences. And this is an important sort of kite mark in terms of programs related to sport and exercise science, because without that endorsement, you cannot practice in sport and exercise science. So that needs to be, whatever institution you look at, whatever program, that is an important metric of accreditation because it allows you to go and practice in the field upon completion of your degree. Typically, and the same can be said here at the University of Portsmouth, sport and exercise science degrees are founded around 3 core subject areas. So there's physiology, biomechanics, and psychology. And likewise, in terms of the offering we have here at the University of Portsmouth, the sector, the sports industry demands that you need to have knowledge and skill sets that are above and beyond those 3 disciplines. So our curriculum provides opportunities to explore coaching principles, looks at more nutrition management, injury rehabilitation, and a new sort of industry-led subject area in strength and conditioning. So our program is multidisciplinary and offers a range of different exposures to a range of different subject areas that are all accredited and endorsed by BASIS, so the British Association of Sport and Exercise Sciences. So this degree, as I said, is a 4-year degree. The 3rd year of that program is optional to either take a work placement sandwich year or a study abroad experiential year. And I'll come to those two different components later, but typically students will be on campus at the University of Portsmouth for 3 years out of those 4 on offer, okay? The second degree, oh, hang on, we've got a little video here, so see if this works. I'll have to thumbs up if this works. Mackie, I'm looking at you, so see if this works. Great. So that gave a little bit of an overview in terms of what sport and exercise science degrees can go on to do upon completion of their degree. As I mentioned, it's multidisciplinary, so it creates a lot of career opportunities in different disciplines, and the nature of any sort of sport and exercise science curriculum allows you to specialise at a certain point within your programme, whether that is through a research project or whether it's through module options as you progress through your degree. You can have an opportunity to specialise, and that is key to any decision you make which is related to a sport and exercise science degree pathway. So, our second undergraduate programme, as I mentioned, was Sport and Exercise Psychology. And this is, again, another endorsed programme, but this time by the British Psychological Society. So this allows students to seek accreditation to go out into professional practice in the world of psychology. As with BASES, so the British Association of Sport and Exercise Science and the British Psychological Society, they are both internationally recognised endorsed programs. So that means that students can use this qualification to work anywhere in the globe, and it's not just located and relevant for the UK market. So what is sport and exercise psychology, and what can you actually do within that program? Well, actually, the program of sport and exercise psychology is the study of people, and as you can see, the mind and behaviour of those people in different working conditions, whether that's in sporting environment, whether that is in exercise environments, or those looking at intervention schemes to encourage physical activity and exercise in wider societal populations. Again, the degree is multidisciplinary in nature, related to excuse me, psychology. So you can be talking about or reviewing cognitive psychology, all the way through to skill acquisition and human movement. It's multidisciplinary to give you the skill set in order to advance your knowledge and understanding of the world of psychology. And this program is co-taught with the Department of Psychology here at the University of Portsmouth. So you get a good range of academics from a broad range of backgrounds, whether that is in classic psychology study or whether more aligned to the sport and exercise industry. So it's a multidisciplinary degree. The third undergraduate program, probably a bit more relevant for Mackie, who's going to be presenting later, is our undergraduate degree in sports management and development. Now, this is historically a degree that was previously named sports development, and it has changed and adapted with the currency and the fluctuation in what is the sports industry to represent the actual skill sets and requirements of professionals going into industry. So a lot more management-based concepts are embedded now within this curriculum compared to the past. But realistically, this degree is looking at the application of sporting principles, management principles, in terms of the labour market for the sports industry, for exercise and leisure industries, and it creates a sort of overview of the holistic dynamics of what is the sports industry. Students in this pathway will again go through a multidisciplinary set of studies looking at development principles, policy implications, all the way through to coaching, learning, economics, finance, marketing, all the classic sort of management type subject areas are embedded within this program. Okay, and as with all our undergraduate programs, there are 4 years. There's opportunities for that sandwich year, that work-based opportunity, or the study abroad program. And these are our 3 core undergraduate degrees. So just to sort of elaborate a little bit more in terms of our commitment to the student, and as I said at the beginning, about our values, but also about the university's commitment to our vocational opportunities for students, so getting students into employment upon completion of their degree. The first thing I want to talk about, within this sports management development pathway, we have a core module on work-based learning. So students will go out and experience very short exposure to different dynamics of the sports industry within our local populations here within the University of Portsmouth. Within our final year, level 6, that's the final year here at the University of Portsmouth, students also have an opportunity to do what is called a professional development module. So this is again a industry-led, vocationally-led module where students would go and seek some work-based experience, but also would be undertaking a series of lectures and seminars in masterclass topics, such as from Mackie could be a good example, somebody who works in industry, talking about their passage to their current position and opportunities, things to look out for, and things to look at post-completion of their degree. So it's a lot more about upskilling students in that final sort of period before going out into industry. And as well within that module, we'll look at CV design, covering letter, as well as looking at some current job opportunities that exist in the sector. So the final 3 blocks you can see there, the first 2, the work placement and study abroad year, this is that third elusive year within all of our undergraduate degree programs. So students have the option, it's not core, unlike our dual awards with Edith Cowan University, it's an opportunity for students to either take a year out and go and work for a company related to their degree discipline, or go and study with one of our many study abroad partners, which I'll show you in our next couple of slides in terms of who they are and where they are in the globe. So that is a 12-month program, and students go out for that full year before returning back to the University of Portsmouth on campus to undertake that final year of study. For students on our sports management pathway, we also have the opportunity for them to go out and experience the overseas study environment in the second semester, or second teaching block as we call it here in the UK, of their second year of study, their level 5 study. So students get to go and study 60 credits worth of their degree in an overseas institution before either coming back to complete their level 6, their final year study, or undertaking a further study abroad or sandwich year, placement year, as can be required within the curriculum structure. So plenty of opportunities, work placement, study abroad, and it's certainly a new sort of opportunities that has evolved in recent years in alignment not only to the requirements of the industry, but also to the needs of the students and the interests of our different students that we are now seeking across the globe. So Who are our partners and where are they at? So this slide here illustrates a couple of those key partners. Actually, some of these have progressed significantly in recent weeks and months. For example, University of Canberra, Memorial University in Canada, and the Institute of Sports Management in India, in Mumbai in India, are all now key partners within the school. So students can go and take a year abroad and study a program of study equivalent to their subject area at any of these partners. But also they could either take that 6-month overseas teaching block 2 module if they're in that sports management and development degree pathway. So it's quite a significant growth. There is a significant number of new partners now emerging over in the United States. This week, for instance, we are talking with the University of Virginia Commonwealth, which is in Richmond in Carolina, as well as some of our bigger partners there with the University of North Carolina and Western Carolina specifically. So quite a growth market for opportunities for students to go and study internationally. And it's something that I'm responsible for, and I'll talk a little bit later about my role within the school specifically. But what this is demonstrating is our commitment to the student experience, not only in terms of curriculum design, but also in terms of the experiences we offer both internally and externally for the institution. Because on our course, we generally believe that currency, so modern and current interventions, are key to having a successful experience. And consequently, we make sure that our curriculum is informed by research and applied practice. So staff regularly embed elements of their research endeavours into either final year projects or any subject specific modules that they are responsible for. It makes sure that we start bringing our connectivity from academic practice into industry relevance. And as you can see on the slide in front of you, most of our staff are professionally accredited, whether that is through BASES, the British Psychological Society, or from aligned industries such as the Chartered Institute for Physical Activity and Sports Management, or even the Institute for Leadership and Management. They are key elements of staff experiences and exposure that contribute to curriculum and the experiences of students within the school. And ultimately, that filters into some postgraduate opportunities that I'll touch upon a little bit later in the presentation. But continuing the theme about our opportunities and our commitment to making sure there is a nice collaborative sort of endeavour with the student and the academics within the school, we've invested significantly in a program called Supporting Champions. So that provides alumni activities and external mentoring across all levels of our study in all of our undergraduate degree programs. Primarily, this Supporting Champions program helps students look for opportunities, for career opportunities, helps support with CV design, presentation practice, all the sort of private and public sort of endeavours that you'll have to undertake post-completion of your degree. We embed them within our program of opportunity for students to experience whilst they're a student at the University of Portsmouth, to prepare them for that sort of life endeavour upon completion of their programme. So it's quite a significant level of investment we have given, not only in terms of the experiences, so the study abroad or sandwich years, but also in terms of our commitment to the curriculum design through research and academic practice, but also the exposure to making sure that students are upskilled and prepared for life upon completion of their degree. Because continuing along those themes, we have all the different sort of opportunities that we offer, whether that is compulsory field trips overseas. So sports management and development students have a compulsory trip to Barcelona. Yes, Becky, that's still going. They are continually involved in some of the more local and national sort of events. So those students will have experience of the Great South Run, which is Europe's largest 10K racing event. It's housed here in the city of Portsmouth, but also a range of different activities, whether it's working with military, with sport, with different sectors of sport, different sort of societal agendas that occur nationally and locally. We provide those opportunities for students to experience that within their curriculum and also in those sort of extracurricular activities that we offer as a school. So one of the big things that's happened in recent years is the university's alignment to a strategic partnership with the football club, Portsmouth Football Club, who operate in League One of the National League here in the UK. So that's equivalent to the third division in that sense. It gives us opportunities for students to seek placements and continuous professional development opportunities with the football club, which is a professional sports sector. And that opportunity is key for all of our undergraduate and postgraduate provision. So we are the academic partner, and we're also a sponsorship partner for that football club. So we have a significant presence in terms of opportunities that we can provide for our students, particularly from the School of Health, Exercise, Science. So in addition to our curriculum and our extracurricular activities we offer in school, we also have the Up for Sport provision, which is run by our Sport and Recreation department, that provides students the opportunity to undertake coaching qualifications in return for some volunteer hours in the community. So generally these are subsidised qualifications, so you wouldn't pay the full price, but the sort of recompense for that is that students would be required to volunteer in the local community. So students would actually get experience for undertaking that qualification, which is invaluable in itself, particularly when you start looking at those careers in that post-degree era. We have a range of different other activities, such as conferences, alumni conferences. We have certain awards that try and excite and entice students to consider whether it is a career development award or an innovation and enterprise award, start looking at different opportunities that exist in the sector. So all big opportunities, all big elements, and it all fits to that sort of value of the school that we've mentioned at the very beginning about our commitment to creating a learning environment that is better based on equality, diversity and inclusivity, but also creates an enthusiastic and a passionate, empowered environment for the individual and collective group of students that we have within the school. So how do you get onto a course within our school? What are the qualifications that are needed to do any of our programs? Now, I'm not going to go into these in great detail. You can have a copy or you can rewatch this particular slide later at your leisure via YouTube. But here are our entry tariffs. So you can see there's quite a significant there in terms of UK data, but also more relevant to the Japanese market as well. Significantly, there's the IELTS score that's required to come onto our program, which is an important thing to consider when you are looking at overseas study. So I'll let you read that at your own leisure, but it's important that you are aware of the different tariffs, different requirements in order to get onto the differing degrees that we hold within the School of Sport, Health and Exercise Science. So I guess this is still the magic question. So I've sort of alluded to what we offer within the school. So our different undergraduate programs, our different levels of commitment to students. But I guess the big question is, that's great, but what can I do with those degrees? What actually can I do? So I'm just going to go into a little bit of an overview before handing over to Mackie, as somebody who has actually gone through our program and got into an industry probably aligned to somebody's interest within this particular session. So sport itself is a fairly unique entity in terms of not only academic study, but also in terms of industry presence. We know that sport has a unique sort of place within society, whether that is of its social relevance, its political significance, or its personal connection that individuals have with sport. We all have a sort of identity within our sporting interest. We all know specific elements of that sport, the social history, the political significance of where those sports have come from or how they exist in the current market. The interesting thing with sport is that we all have our own perception of it. Okay, and sport fluctuates in different markets, in different national boundaries. It's represented in a range of different facets, whether it is in a private sector, a public sector, or in the more recent times, we can define it as a commercial sector, elements of the industry that are there for purely profitable gain. Okay, but the unique thing about sport, it means something to everybody in some unique way, whether that is a disinterest but an opportunity, or it's a passionate interest that provides further opportunity to take a passion into a career pathway. Because the sectors of sport are unique. As I said, there are predominantly three sectors. The private sector, which is a range of financial investment, those organisations, those career opportunities that are focused around capitalistic gains, so a lot about money and financial revenue and return. But there's also the public sector, where it's all about investment in sport, getting people more physically active, providing platforms of opportunity, and also an opportunity where sport can be used as a tool to address societal issues. That's an important thing to bear in mind in terms of the difference between the two. The private sector, whilst may have an essence of societal interest, primarily they're devised for commercial gain, so financial revenue, whereas the public sector primarily is there for national and local agendas, but also the sort of eradication of some social issues that exist in society. The third sector, unique sector, is the voluntary sector, and this is probably the bulk of the sports industry that exists across the globe. All those individuals that provide volunteer hours for localized clubs, the IOC, which I'm sure Maki will talk about a little bit later in terms of its relevance to you over there in Japan. The volunteer sector actually is the hub of all of the activities that exist across the sector. The elite levels of sport, whether you look at football, hockey, cricket, tennis, they wouldn't exist without the amateur game, without the volunteer clubs that exist to provide the pathway for those athletes to develop, but also to progress through. So it's quite an underpinning strategy. And here at the School of Sport, Health and Exercise Science, our degree, all of our undergraduate degrees and postgraduate degrees, make sure that we cover opportunities that exist across any of these sectors and how all those different and diverse subject areas can contribute to those different subject areas. And typically, this is a sort of template sort of slide in terms of career pathways that you can undertake from a range of different undergraduate and postgraduate provision. And it's interesting to note that it's not just in sport. And obviously, we watched a video briefly earlier that talks about different diverse careers that the students can take with a degree in a range of different sort of subject areas aligned to sport. Predominantly, our students have gone on to have some lovely and varied careers post-degree studies. So as you can see, whether that's in events or in health promotion or working in local government, it is certainly a diverse set of opportunities that filter through in terms of the provision that sports degrees can offer. And this slide in front of you is just some of the images of the destinations of our students have got onto in recent years. Of particular interest is, for me personally, is the Wasserman opportunity you can see there on the bottom right-hand side of the slide. This is a global sports agency company. So a number of our students have gone on to becoming sports agents, going through the process of working for that global organization to get into agency, whether they've come from a sport and exercise science background or a sports management and development pathway. It's a significant opportunity that students are now considering in those post-degree career opportunities. So how does this relate to Japan? And Maki, I'm building you up here. This is going to be you soon, okay? I've just wanted to demonstrate a couple of our alumni and some of the activities that they have gone on to. So here we have Takio, who is obviously one of our MSc Sports Management graduates. He had an experience here with us in 2016-17 and undertook a placement opportunity at Portsmouth Football Club, and he works quite significantly in Tokyo. And I'll let you read what exactly his job title is because my Japanese isn't quite there to be able to read that back to you. But the great thing about Tak is that he regularly contributes to our alumni engagement. He's regularly happy to meet with myself when I'm over in Tokyo, as does Maki Mizuki, who you'll see in a second. But significantly, what is interesting is that what we have with students come from our subject-specific national areas, such as Japan or China. Students have returned back to their host countries or gone overseas to work in those fields of interest. So they have gone into the sports industry, and Maki will talk about her experiences briefly in a moment. But also we have Mizuki, and correct me if I'm wrong, Maki, but Mizuki works in a sports coaching company or sports company within Japan. So obviously completed with Maki in 2012 from, it says there sports management, but that's what it's called now, but it was a sports development degree pathway back then, and had exposure and experience to a range of different subject areas, which I'm going to pass you over now to Maki to explain about their experiences together. So Maki, over to you. This is you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mike. So first of all, thank you for giving me a chance to talk about my experiences at the University of Portsmouth as well as my career. So I'm going to switch the language from English to Japanese from now. So just let me know when you need something from your side. So can you click the slide, please? そう、皆さんはじめまして、大串真希と申します。今日はポーツマス大学の卒業生として私の、経験談をお話ししたいと思います。Next, please. まずはじめに、私が、どんな、キャリアや、ポーツマス大学入学前、あと入学後、どういうふうに過ごしてきたかっていうのをお話ししたいと思います。私は高校は日本の高校を卒業したんですけれども、海外の大学に行きたいと思ったので、高校卒業後に英語の学べる学校に東京で1年間通いました。でそこから、イギリスに渡っています。イギリス留学1年目はファンデーションコースというコースをケンブリッジで取りました。ポーツマス大学には2009年に入学して2012年にスポーツディベロップメントというコースで卒業しています。で卒業後のお話なんですけれども、2012年に卒業して同じ年にロンドンオリンピック・パラリンピックがあったので、そこでボランティア活動をしてから日本に帰国しました。で日本に帰国してからはJICA という組織がやっている青年海外協力隊で、2年間途上国に行ってボランティア活動をしました。で主にやっていた活動としては、300人ぐらいの孤児院が暮らしている施設で午前中は体育の授業をして午後はスポーツクラブ、例えばバスケとかサッカーとか卓球とかを指導する活動を行っていました。で、帰国後から現在に至るまでは東京オリンピック・パラリンピックの組織委員会で働いています。主な業務内容としてはオリンピックには206の国と地域が出場するんですけれども、その各国にオリンピック委員会というものがあるんですね。で私は中米というエルサルバドルという中米の国に行っていたので英語とスペイン語が話せるんですけれど、その経験を生かして、アメリカ大陸のオリンピック委員会、アメリカ、カナダがある北米とかアルゼンチンとかブラジルがある南米の方たちと日々連絡を取って調整をする仕事をしています。キャリア自体では今お伝えした通りこのようなキャリアを積んでいます。Next slide, please. So, 主なユニバーシティライフということで私が経験したポーツマス大学での生活についてお話ししたいと思います。一番左にクラスというのがあるんですけれど、レクチャー、セミナー、ラボラトリー、ワークショップ、フィールドトリップ、プラクティカルエクスペリエンシーっていう授業一つにとってもいろんな形があります。例えばレクチャーで言いますと数百人単位が聴講する基本的に聞いてるだけの授業もありますけれど、例えばセミナーだと少人数グループでディスカッションしたりとか先生とインタラクションがもうちょっとある授業スタイルがあったり、例えばフィールドトリップでいうとさっきマイクも少し触れてましたけれどもバルセロナにちょっと行って1992年かなにバルセロナオリンピックがあったので大会後に競技施設がどういうふうに使われてるかとかバルセロナオリンピックのミュージアムに実際に行ってみて勉強するというようなフィールドトリップとかもありました。でワークショップとかもありますし、一つの授業といってもいろんなバラエティ豊かな授業のスタイルがあります。で、右側に行くとアサイメントっていって課題のスタイルがあるんですけれども、エッセイ、エグザミネーション、小論文ですね。小論文とあとペーパーテスト、であと口頭論述みたいなものとか、あとプラクティカルデモンストレーション、プレゼンテーションとか実際に小学校に行ってちょっと体育の授業をして成績評価をするとかっていうようないろんな形での成績評価の仕方があって評価をもらいます。はい。で、一番下にライフというのがあるんですけれどもポーツマス大学は結構幅広く留学生を受け入れている大学だなという印象がありました。でイギリスなのでもちろんヨーロッパからのアクセスがいいので、例えばイタリア、スペイン、ポルトガルとかからの留学生もいましたし、アジアだと日本、中国、あと東南アジアの留学生もいました。で大体大学1年目っていうのはみんな学生寮に住むので、そこで一緒に住んでる子たちだと留学生だとやっぱり共通認識でその異国の地でみんな一生懸命第二言語の英語で一生懸命生きてるっていうので結構仲良くなりやすくていろんな世界中の友達ができます。で2つ目のグッドロケーションっていうのはさっきマイクも言ってたんですけどポーツマスイギリスって結構皆さんイメージで例えば曇ってるとか天気が良くないとか霧がよく降ってるとかあんまりいい天気のイメージがないと思うんですけどポーツマスは イングランドの南部にあるので、結構日照時間が長くて結構太陽も出てます。で、海の目の前なので大きな原っぱがあったりとか、結構気持ちよい場所ですね。あとeasy to access to London ということで、ロンドンにも長距離バスとか、あと電車ですごく行きやすいので、せっかくイギリスにいるからロンドンにも遊びに行きたいというときは結構いい場所です。でもポーツマスで全て必要なものは買えたりするので、田舎で何もなくて何も買えなくてっていう状況ではないので、基本生活する上ではポーツマスで全てことが足ります。で、一番最後のスチューデントサポートというところなんですけど、留学生だとやっぱり自分の言語に自信がなかったりとかすると思うんですけど、そういう例えばさっきアサイメントで小論文があるって言ったんですけど、その自分が書いた小論文の英語が正しいかどうかっていうのをチェックしてくれたりとか、一緒に改善していく、良くしていくサービスもありますし、チューター制度といって自分が取ってる学科の先生が自分の担任になって課題のやり方とか困ってることを相談したりっていうこともできるので、そういう学生へのサポートも充実してると思います。Next slide, please. はい。で、Why Portsmouth Why Sports Development ということなんですけど、どうして私がポーツマス大学のスポーツディベロップメントというコースを取ったかについてお話ししたいと思います。今はスポーツマネージメント&ディベロップメントっていう名前に変わってるんですけど、私の時はスポーツディベロップメントというコースでした。で、右側に映ってるのが私が実際に取ってた授業の一覧なんですけど、多分皆さんもすでに願書とか提出した段階だと思うんですけど、イギリスにおいてスポーツといっても、スポーツの中にもいろいろなジャンルがあるんですね。例えば心理学、コーチング、教育っていろいろジャンルが分かれてます。で、私がスポーツは勉強したいと思ってたんですけど、そのスポーツの中でもどのジャンルに自分が勉強したいかっていうのはよくまだその時は分からなかったんですね。で、なんですけど、イギリスの大学のスポーツ学科っていうのは大体いつも心理学とかコンディショニングっていうもうすでに一つの学科で専門がもう決まっちゃってたんですね。なんですけど、私は結構そのスポーツというのをまだ勉強したことがなかったので、どういうものがあるのか分からず、幅広く勉強してみて、その中で興味の湧いたものに特化して勉強をできたら、ゆくゆくできたらいいなと思って、それができる学科はどういうところがあるかなと思って探してたら、ポーツマス大学のスポーツディベロップメントがそういうコースだったので、ポーツマス大学に行きました。で、左側の逆三角形のところで書いてあるんですけど、スポーツが勉強したい。で、ポーツマス大学に行きました。で、ポーツマス大学を卒業したときは、ディベロップメントスルースポーツって言って、スポーツをツールとして使ったコミュニティの発展とか、人の成長というものに関わりたいと思うようになりました。で、それができるのはどういうところがあるかなと思っていたら、JICA がやってる青年海外協力隊とかがあるなと思って、実際に協力隊に行ってみました。で、青年海外協力隊っていうのは草の根レベルの活動で、結構ローカルな場所に入って活動するものです。で、帰国した後に今度はもっと草の根レベルではなくて、国全体を巻き込んだ大きな形でスポーツを通じた発展に携わりたいと思って今の仕事をしています。なんで結構大きい興味からいろんなことを経験したり勉強したりして少しずつ選択肢を狭めていって今に至ってます。なんで、今これを聞いていらっしゃる皆さんがどういう生徒さんなのかわからないんですけど、もし自分の興味がまだ決まってないならいろんな勉強をしていろんなチャレンジをしてみて自分の興味をどんどん狭めていくっていうのも手なのかなとは思ってます。で、以上が私のプレゼンテーションになります。ちょっと時間が短かったのですごいちょっと早く喋ってしまったんですけど、一番最後にQ&A セッションがあるということなので、そこでもし質問がありましたらお答えしたいと思います。はい、皆さんの大学生活がより良いものになりますように応援しています。ありがとうございます。 So Mike, that's it for my part. And I'm happy to answer questions if you have. So if anybody have, so let me know at the end.
Great stuff. Yeah, so I've just got a couple more slides to go through, then fantastic. Well, thanks for that, Mackie. It was great overview. And also shows how much our curriculum has changed over a number of years. So that's great. And it's great to see that we are adapting to student needs, but also in terms of the sector. So really appreciate that. And one of the big things from this presentation, I hope that the individuals who have logged on to see this take away. So we have like a collective commitment to not only our curriculum, but also to the student experience. You can see even on that slide there in terms of Mackie's experience on her degree, taking classes in sign language, all sorts of extra sort of value added type things that would give her an added advantage when you start looking at the career of opportunities post completion of that degree. So I'm just going to finish off in terms of illustrating some of our postgraduate opportunities before taking some question and answers. So as I said, we are an undergraduate, we offer undergraduate, postgraduate taught and postgraduate research programs here in the School of Health, Sport, Health and Exercise Science. We have at the moment 6 core postgraduate programs ranging from exercise physiology all the way through to sports performance and analysis. We have a pre-registration MSc in physiotherapy currently going under its validation processes as we speak, not only in terms of our course internal structures, but also with those professional bodies. The important thing to look at with the range of our undergraduate and postgraduate opportunities is the volume of activities and engagement we have with those professional sectors. And that, we like to think, contributes to the significant opportunities that our students have upon completion of their degree studies with us here in the school. So here are some entry requirements in terms of our different programs, particularly these 3, because these are our typically more popular type postgraduates. But if you go onto our website, you can typically find further details, a little bit more about those programs. So quite a unique thing, but one thing I really want to emphasize in terms of the market here talking today is that the IELTS score is a little bit more significant than our undergraduate requirements, but that is because we're undertaking postgraduate study, and in itself is obviously of a higher sort of expectation and standard of study from our undergraduate provision. Our postgraduate, like our undergraduate provision, is sort of filtered through professional opportunities, whether that's in research or taught curriculum or engagement in guest lectures or alumni presentations. And the slide in front of you illustrates some of our commercial partners, our research partners, as well as some of our teaching and learning partners. So you can have an opportunity to go on our website at any point and you can see the number of projects we've done in collaboration with a significant volume of these partners on the slide in front of you. Our commitment to the school and to students is obviously something I've talked about quite heavily throughout the presentation. And we also produce a quarterly magazine called Pulse that provides opportunities and highlights of our activities internally, but also of our commitment and our sort of emphasis on our engagement with our alumni. So even on the slide in front of you, you've got some of our alumni who've gone on to play professional sport or work in different fields. And these are on our previous editions of this school magazine. So, you know, my role itself is a little bit unique. I'm an associate head in global engagement and education partnerships. So one of my specific remits is to look at opportunities across the globe, and I have the privilege of being able to travel and obviously engage with our alumni. And this is a photo of a trip we just worked out before the presentation started back in roughly February 2019. So it was great to connect with all the people we've actually seen in terms of the alumni profile, and obviously Mackie's presentation earlier today. So had a great night out. It was actually a nice treat. The alumni treated the academic to a night out, so that was fantastic. So yeah, it's our commitment as a school to make sure that we have a vibrant environment whilst you're with us, but also that continuation of contact upon completion of your studies. So that's my role, global engagement. But as a school, we have a specific academic who's responsible for any admission queries. So please feel free to contact Dr. Jenny Burbage, and her contact details on the slide, as well as any of our admissions type contact details you can also see on the slide and on our wider website. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. We've gone through quite a range and varied sort of element of how us as a school contribute to opportunities in the sports sector. You've heard what our undergraduate and postgraduate provision looks like. You've heard from an alumni about her experiences, both with us here at the University of Portsmouth, and obviously in our post-graduation sort of era and period of work experience. I really thank you for coming along. Hopefully one day you get to be part of this photo montage in terms of graduation photo ceremonies. But also, please, if you have any queries or anything you'd like to endeavour to explore more, we have a website, but also feel free to contact either any of us as staff, but obviously as part of myself in terms of my reach globally, or also Dr. Jenny Burbage in terms of any admissions query specifically. So that's it from me, and I would say on behalf of Mackie as well. So thank you ever so much for listening. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and I invite any questions they may or may not have come from our presentation. So thank you once again. Over to you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It was really interesting to know about what sports degrees are about. で、大口様の体験談もお聞きできて本当に参考になりました。ありがとうございました。はい、ですね。では今からですね、質問コーナーということで、お時間あまりないんですけれども、ご質問がある場合はですね、Zoom でご参加されている方は、Zoom のチャットボックスからですね、何でもおっしゃっていただけましたら、私の方で読み上げていきたいと思います。で、YouTube でご覧いただいている方もですね、チャットボックスの方に質問をご記入いただけたらと思いますので、よろしくお願いします。で、ちょっと YouTube の方ですね、質問がいくつか来ておりますので、私の方で読み上げていきたいと思います。We've got some questions from YouTube, student from YouTube, and then I'm going to read out. So could you, one of you guys answer the questions? Okay. で最初の質問なんですけれども、スポーツマネジメントプログラムでは、在学中に大学主催の就職フェアのような機会がありますかということで、Do you have any like a job fair in the offered by your university?
Yes, absolutely. We have two, to be honest with you. We have our internal one as a school, so we do a job and recruitment fair that's specific to sport-aligned industries, and that's held roughly about October, end of October, and also actually now the end of January. So we've got one on the horizon. But also we have the university-wide fairs that roughly about 3 a year with different sort of periods of time. So one will be before Christmas, one will be between Christmas and Easter, and one will be from Easter through to the summer. So, and that's more wider, broader opportunities and employment provision and potential employers that come to those fairs. But we obviously house our own internal one as part of the School of Sport, Health and Exercise Science.
Thank you very much. そうですね、就職フェアも開催されているということなので、また大学もし入学することがあれば、ぜひですね、そういった情報を、大学のスタッフの方に聞いていただけたらと思います。はい、The next question is about salary. スポーツ関連のプログラム卒業生の現在の平均年収のデータはありますでしょうかということで、This student is asking about the average salary of the student who graduated from a sports program. Do you know anything about that?
Say that again, sorry.
The average salary for the students graduated from the sports degree programs.
Are there any other stories, was that?
Yeah, I have a question from the YouTube, and then he's asking, Yeah,
so our students have gone into a range of varied career opportunities. Obviously, you saw Maki's presentation, but also the business cards of those individuals specifically in Japan who have gone on to different aligned sports careers. I would say majority of our students go into aligned professional sports to start working for professional sports clubs or sports-related activities. So we've had a significant volume of students from sport and exercise science, sports psychology and sports management development go and work for some professional clubs. So such as, I think on the slide previously, we talked about Barcelona, we've got Bayern Munich, but even here more domestically in the UK, we have students who've gone on to work for Bournemouth, for Arsenal, for Chelsea, whether that is in their foundation elements of their organisation or in aligned positions within the main football club. But likewise, we're a multinational institution, so we have students that come from far and wide, and then go far and wide. So obviously Maki talked about her experiences of coming to England, but then obviously traveling here, there and everywhere before finally coming back to Japan. So our students generally take those opportunities, and we're seeing quite a common pattern in terms of our students' destination data actually coming over to Asia, in China, or even in Malaysia specifically, looking at different sport for development type opportunities, if I'm honest with you, rather than necessarily professional sport, but certainly there's a global reach and career opportunities. The thing with the sports sector, whilst COVID is obviously having an impact on the global economy, the sports sector is actually still consistently growing. There's more investment than ever in terms of infrastructure, because it's kind of pressing pause on participation and elite level performance. They can reset, reinvest, restructure, and there's a real opportunity for the sports industry in the post-COVID era, when that may be, I'm not too sure. There's a real opportunity where it's going to grow exponentially in terms of wealth, and more importantly for students, career opportunities. Because one thing that's been consistent, certainly for someone who's in national lockdown here in the UK, sport has been a constant sort of alleviation from the nature of what COVID has done to society. And there's been a significant government as well as commercial and private sector investment in the industry.
Okay, thank you very much. はい、続いての質問なんですけれども、臨床運動科学プログラム卒業後のイギリス国内のトップの雇用主にはどのような団体や業界がありますかということで、The next question is about the program about clinical exercise science degree. And then the student is interested in what kind of opportunities or job opportunities, after graduating from the clinical exercise science.
Very good question. So clinical exercise physiology or clinical exercise science is the study and consideration of exercise physiology in clinical environments. So typically students who undertake that pathway would do a significant amount of work in hospitals, in private clinics, in terms of upskilling the clinicians or the participants in physiology responses to exercise and conditions. So a lot of graduates go into work in rehabilitation, offering exercise rehabilitation programs to those individuals that have been injured or have disability in some format from a clinical perspective. So looking at conditions and how they can sort of improve the life conditions of those subject areas. In terms of the subject specific modules on that program, our postgraduate programs are devised of 4 core modules in essence, as well as the research project. The 4 core modules in clinical exercise science are clinical exercise physiology. So that's the study of the human anatomy in those clinical and adapted environments. But then they also have pathophysiology and medical management as a module, which is a module that is delivered with clinical professionals that exist in private and public sector medical provision. So get exposure to the different sets of conditions, whether that is working with cardiac rehabilitation or specifically within our school, we have experts who work in cerebral palsy and different sort of subject groups like that. So different experiences and opportunities to do casework with different subject groups. The other modules are psychology, so understanding how you can care and condition for individuals in those rehabilitation environments, as well as a compulsory placement activity where we place students within private or public sector medical environments. A number of our students, if I'm honest with you, go in to look at cardio environments, so looking at opportunities to improve conditions of the heart and how that not only improves performance of sport, but also helps with anybody who has conditions that are impacted upon their heart directly. So it's quite a varied degree. It's very much about clinical practice in comparison to our human and applied physiology, which is a lot more about environments of physiology, working in different conditions, such as working up a mountain or deep down in the water and understanding the physiology behind those different environments and the impact upon performance. Clinical exercise physiology or exercise science is looking at those clinical sort of subject groups and provisions and providing opportunities to improve the life experiences of those subject groups. I hope that's provided an answer.
Okay, thank you very much. And then the next question is, scholarships. Do you have any scholarships for sports programs? And then, if you have, there are any deadlines or requirements?
Absolutely, yes. So we do. We have a sports scholarship system in place for sporting scholars. So what that means is it's a provision for sporting prowess rather than academic studies. So it's coordinated through our sport and recreation department here at the University of Portsmouth. As far as I'm aware, there's no specific deadline at present, because obviously students apply at different times of the year, whether that's postgraduate or undergraduate. But typically the board would probably see the applications in August, early September, and it's typically a process once you have an offer from the University of Portsmouth. Now, the scholarship is not related to tuition fees. It is all about supporting the athletes during their time here at the University of Portsmouth. So that's either providing psychological support, strength and conditioning programs, dietitians, access to gym facilities above and beyond those that we house here at the University of Portsmouth. Or in addition, it could be payment for a personal trainer to keep those athletes in shape while they're doing their academic studies. So yeah, the scholarships are an offer from sport and recreation. And they're not obviously academic scholarships, but they're certainly a significant impact in terms of enabling those individuals to continue their sporting prowess whilst they're here at the University of Portsmouth. And all the information can be found on our website, by the way.
Okay, thank you very much. And then, the UK government, have the 2-year postgraduate working visa, right? And then, do you have any kind of support for for the new scheme? Do you offer any job for us or job?
Yes, that's an interesting one. So obviously that's a new scheme, but actually in terms of the provision that the university offers, that's not a new concept. So we have, obviously I'm in an academic school, and Adele, who's here on the meeting, and Kenny, they work in our overseas offices, but within campus we have what is called the global office. So they have specific members of staff who are responsible for going through the visa process, aligning to career opportunities in those different disciplines, providing some advice about continuation and stay within the UK and how those visas work, and how they can move between the UK and their home country in terms of the regulations on those visas. So we have the global office who are experts in that, and they provide a significant level of support for those students, actually whilst they're on their studies, but also in those post-completion period. Adele, is that correct?
Hi, yeah, I can add to that as well. In addition to that, we also have a careers division called the Purple Door. They assist students with resources, help them identify places to look for relevant jobs. They do workshops, and these are at no fee, so students can improve their CVs, do workshops on interview skills. So we have all of these support systems on campus, and students can go in and practice if they like, or look for the actual jobs with the advice that comes from this department.
Okay, thank you very much. And then the next question is from Zoom. There's a couple of questions from Zoom's chat box, and then one is, what do you think that I should do for preparation of studying at the university, such as participating at academic writing or research paper? Yeah,
that's a very good question, and I'd love every student prior to coming to the University of Portsmouth to have experience of academic writing and writing a paper, and that would be amazing. But in terms of experience, in terms of preparing yourself, one thing I would definitely say is just make sure you have chosen a degree that you're genuinely interested in, and you have intentions to strive hard to find a career within that. In terms of academic writing, just read some relevant papers, whether they are magazine articles, whether they are news articles on websites, just to make sure that you are aware of the current endeavours and activities that are occurring in that sector. In terms of students who are accepted to a place here at the University of Portsmouth, we have what's called a prep-up scheme. So it's a significant amount of work the students don't have to do, but it's sent to students who hold an offer that goes through some preparation work and reading and writing skill development before they come to the University of Portsmouth on their very first day. And on that very first day, it's part of what we have as an induction program where students are assessed for their academic writing, reading, and ability to understand the expectations of higher education. And so from that induction week, they're set on a path of quite a significant level of academic support to help progress them through certainly the initial period, but certainly throughout their entire degree pathway. And once that induction period's finished, we make sure that it's embedded in our tutorial program in terms of academic skill development. And there's a significant level of formative, so assessed work that is not counted towards the grade, but students receive feedback on that formative work to allow them to see opportunities to improve on their academic writing, their knowledge base, ahead of any summative work which counts towards their degree grade. So there's a significant level of opportunity within course, but the big thing I would say is, the biggest battle I would say, is making sure you choose the right course for your interest and you're passionate and committed to that, and then just engage in the wider reading. That would be something I would really advocate.
Thank you very much. Then next question is, what kind of workshops or like activities do you do in a football club? Do you have a football club?
Yeah, so the football club, we are roughly 3 years into the partnership. Adele might correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's 3 years. We are the educational partners for them. So we provide, from an academic, so myself, I will do a couple of workshops with their staff about my area is human resource management. So all about contracts, how you manage staff, how you develop staff, how you monitor staff well-being. They're the kind of things that I offer to their staff. In terms of workshops for our students, they typically are aligned to subject areas such as what is professional sport. So understanding the day-to-day life of and it could be the operations manager, it could be the academy manager, it could be the marketing officer. So we generally use workshops to advocate career passageways and opportunities for students to engage with CPD, so continuous professional development, that gives them an opportunity to go down those paths if they want to go through that particular pathway. But as I said in the presentation, we are the main provider of placement opportunities with the football club. So we provide a range of different placement activities, whether that is for the modular base, so work-based learning or professional development, or the year-long sandwich year provision. We provide opportunities for students to engage, whether that is in strength and conditioning, nutrition, psychology, more sports management, so marketing, HR, finance, so on and so forth. We provide those opportunities. And I guess the workshops really are more aligned to looking at career activities, but actually the provision we have and the agreement with the football club allows us to embed different components in our curriculum to enhance the student experience whilst they're with us here at the University of Portsmouth.
Thank you very much. そうですね。で、もし、また他に質問がある場合はですね、またチャットボックス入れていただけたらと思います。で、I'd like to ask a question to Maki. で、大口様、何かちょっと質問が私からあるんですけれども、先ほどプレゼンテーションありがとうございました。で、いろいろとそれまでのご経歴だったりとか、ご説明していただいたんですけれども、最初から例えばオリンピックの、組織で働きたいとか、そういったビジョンがあったのかとか、何か就職についてですね、アドバイス等があれば、もしよろしければ何かお話しできることがあれば、お伺いできればと思うんですけれども。
そうですね、大学の在学時にオリンピックで働きたいって具体的に思っていたわけではないんですけど、授業の一環でメガスポーツイベントという授業があったのをよく覚えていて、で例えばワールドカップですとか、オリンピックとか、その世界規模でのスポーツイベントに関する授業があったのをすごくよく覚えてます。で、大学最後の年になって進路を考えるときに、ゆくゆくはオリンピックに携わることも選択肢としてはあるなとは思ってたんですけれども、卒業した時はもうちょっと海外に身を置いて、その現場で大学では結構授業スタイルでスポーツについて勉強したので、今度は現場に自分の身を置いて実際に自分の目で見て勉強したいというふうに思ってたので、その時はオリンピックというよりかは、例えば本当に先ほどお伝えした国際協力の道、スポーツをツールとして国の発展とか人の発展という分野に興味が湧いたので、直後としては その就職ではないんですけれども、青年海外協力隊っていう道を選びました。でもそこに自分の興味で進んだ道だったんですけど、そこでスペイン語を覚えたので、今の職場でスペイン語と英語が必要なんですけれども、その点と点がスティーブ・ジョブズのスピーチじゃないですけど、今振り返ってみればいろんな経験がこう今につながってるなと思うので、自分の興味の行く道に進んでいると必ず将来の職業という意味ではどこかでつながったりとか、職に就いたときに役に立つことはいっぱいあるのかなと思います。
ですね。今日いただいている質問、結構就職に関する質問が多かったので、やはりご自身、自分のやりたいことをどんどん積極的に取り組んでいって、そこからこうキャリアにつなげていくっていうようなことになりますかね。
そうですね。例えばさっきマイクもいろいろお話ししてたんですけど、やっぱり英語が話せることと、やっぱり海外で経験できることっていうのが多いので、例えばイギリスですとすごくサッカーが盛んなので、もしかしたら日本にいるよりかはイギリスの環境に身を置いた方がサッカーという意味で触れ合える機会だとかいろんなことが学べるチャンスは多いかもしれないので、そこから何か次につながっていくこともあるのかなとは思います。
はい、ありがとうございます。はい、そうですね。では、他に質問ある方はいらっしゃいますでしょうか。はい、そうですね。もう質問がなければですね、もう時間も来ておりますので、これで終了していきたいと思います。そうですね。So we finished all the questions, and then we are finishing this seminar. And then, do you have any messages to students before finishing the seminar?
I just want to say thank you for everyone for attending. Thank you, especially thank you to Maki for contributing to the presentation. Really appreciate that. Hopefully I'll get out to Japan at some point in the not too distant future, and I can treat you to dinner this time. So that'll be great.
Yeah, I'm happy to help any future Japanese student, and I'm happy to help my university and you. So yeah, just let me know if there is any other chance as well in the future.
Perfect. Okay, well, thank you for hosting us, and take care, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
はい。ではですね、これで本日のセミナーを終了させていただきます。本日ご参加いただきましたですね、皆様、大変ありがとうございました。またご質問等ありましたら、SI-UK の東京オフィスか、大阪オフィスですね、どちらかにご案内いただき、ご連絡いただきましたら、ポーツマスの大学の職員さんの方、スタッフの方ですね、先生の方、マイクさんとか、ご案内をさせていただくことも可能ですので、ぜひですね、ご連絡いただけたらと思います。本日はそういう時間ですね、ご参加いただきまして、誠にありがとうございました。Thank you very much for everyone to join this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you.